everyone. Welcome to the Blockchain Opportunities for Developer Ask Me Anything show. Hi, Mahesh. How are you doing?
Good morning, Simon. Good evening, I guess. You are in India. I'm here in the US. Everybody, welcome to this exciting and special AMA focused around blockchain.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun day. Today we have Chris Trew. Chris is founder and CEO of Stratis platform. Stratis platform is a product for enterprises to build blockchain solutions. And the company behind is a Stratus Group Limited. It's a UK-based company.
That's
And
amazing. And having said that, apart from this live show, we have very exciting giveaways throughout the live show, right?
yeah,
And
so Simon, why don't you tell me how people can win? I think we are giving away a lot of things. One of
yeah,
them is we are giving away 1,000 Strax. And if you
exactly.
don't know what a Strax is, you're joining us first time. It's a cryptocurrency. It's tradable. Definitely, you can buy and sell. It's valued, some money. I don't know exact amount. It's on exchanges, but yeah, we are giving away 1,000 Strax today during the show. So Simon, why don't you tell everybody who's joining us how they can win?
Yeah, so winning this strikes is pretty easy. It's just that you have to be very active throughout the live show. The moment we start now and towards the end, after every 10 minutes of interval, we're gonna give away the strats. And the very first rule that we recommend you is that I've actually dropped is to actually go ahead and follow Stratis platform and C Sharp Corner on Twitter. That's super important. And when you go ahead and tweet us on social media platforms, we give you some giveaways like take a selfie or share your experience watching this live show and tag us at C Sharp Corner and Stratis platform. And don't forget to use hashtag C Sharp Corner and Stratis platform. So when you go ahead and share all your experiences on C Sharp Corner, we give you some strats over there. Like we have allotted like 300 strats over there. So there will be three winners from social media to win strats. Apart from that, rest 6 to 700 strats we are going to give away in this live show. For now, how do you win that? In every 10 minutes, we're going to ask you a question in the comments. They may not be reflected on a screen, but you have to be very, very active on what we drop in the comments. We will be asking you a very simple question that would be related to Stratis, and you have to answer that. But remember, when you answer it, you have to use the hash of strats. You have to use that strats, right? Whenever you answer or whenever you drop any comment in the chats, please use hash strats. And then also towards the end, we're gonna pick some random people who have asked some great questions and do some giveaway. So the way to win is be very active on social media, tag us at Stratis and C Sharp Corner and use our hashtags and be very active in the comments.
Yeah, in the first half of the show will be more about I am asking questions. I have my own questions, mostly for C Sharp and .NET developers. So if you are a software developer, use C Sharp, .NET, Visual Studio. You want to build blockchain solutions. I'm going to ask those questions, and then in the second half of the show, in the end, we are going to take questions from you, from audience, from social media. We may also give a pick one of the top questions has been. So let's bring our guest of the show today, Chris.
All right, there we go.
You want to play a
Hi
video,
guys.
Simon? Hey, Chris, how are you? Good afternoon. I believe you are joining us from London.
Indeed, yes. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us today. I know it was a short notice. How are things going there with this COVID? I know London, it was really bad and now seems like better.
Yeah, London seems to be one of the worst hit places last year, but things are starting to gradually open back up, which is very nice. But it's been, I think we can all agree that it's been a very hard year for everyone globally, and it's something that we all share in common.
Yeah, I hope your family, everybody's safe, and coworkers and Stratus family is safe.
Yeah, everyone's good.
All right, you all vaccinated?
I haven't. No, no.
Okay.
All
All
my
right.
family.
I have both vaccinations. So I'm done. So I should be good
Okay,
now. I start traveling now. So
nice.
Chris, how it's been really strange last year for a lot of us. All of us are now working from home, remote, and I know you, Stratis, has been a remote company for almost since beginning. I know you had an office in London, but during this COVID, how were you able to kind of keep yourself motivated and also kind of inspire your team members? How were you able to do that during this time?
That's a very good question. I mean, it's hard to take positives from the last year, but if I had to take one positive, it was that there was no distractions. So there was literally nothing going on outside of the house. So I've always pretty much dedicated all of my time to Stratis, but whatever other time that I had for social activities was completely removed. So it was just completely focused on Stratis. In terms of the team, we're very lucky in that the majority of the Stratis team actually reached out to us. Either they were a member of our community and then joined as a developer, or they just reached out to us on Discord. So we're very fortunate that everyone that's at Stratis really wants to be here. So in terms of motivating, we didn't really have to do anything special to motivate our team. I think the most important thing was being understanding that we're globally dispersed. So we've got guys in Australia, Russia, South Africa, Asia, sort of just being flexible in terms of their local restrictions and what's going on in their sort of local jurisdiction. But motivation, we don't really struggle with motivation at Stratis.
Oh, that's great. You have a good team. Definitely, that's a good team, right? So I know you founded the Stratus a while ago. Maybe you want to give a little background on what Stratus is and what made you actually leave your consulting job, good paying consulting job, and get into this blockchain and cryptocurrency and start your own company, because starting companies, it's not easy. It's always a big challenge. And what
Mhm.
made you do that, and how did you basically reach where you are today?
Yeah, so I started off working in IT at around 19 years old. I started at the very bottom, which was first line support. So answering the call, working on a support desk. I slowly worked my way up to second line support and then third line support, and then specialized in the area of virtualization and became a consultant in that space. I then worked for around about 10 years as a technical architect, predominantly around cloud and virtualization. In 2015, I wanted a change. So I taught myself C Sharp. And it
Oh
was,
wow, I did not know that you taught yourself C sharp.
yeah, well, I say I taught myself. I used a lot of material out there that was out there, a lot of learning material. Some on C Sharp Corner, actually, funny enough. Um, but once I learned how to code, I started to look at the world a little bit differently. So I started to see business opportunities everywhere. If somebody had an API, I'd be trying to work out how I could utilize and consume that API and build a commercial product out of it. During this time, I was also involved in crypto. I found Bitcoin in around about 2014, 2015. I'd always been fascinated with the technology and the decentralized nature of the technology and the fact that there was no central control. And in late 2015, early 2016, I started to look at blockchain from an enterprise perspective. So it was very clear from the very beginning that financial institutions, enterprises were going to be interested in the technology behind Bitcoin, which is blockchain, but maybe not necessarily blockchain itself because of some of the some of the inaccurate media that came out around the time, focusing on some of the more negative aspects of Bitcoin. And when I did my research and looked at the marketplace, I noticed that there was a huge divide between the blockchain and the enterprise. And it was my vision that C# and Microsoft's .NET framework could go some way to bridging that gap. So instead of creating just another C# library like we have JavaScript libraries for Bitcoin, even though it's in C++, we decided to completely rewrite the Bitcoin code base in C#, which was a huge undertaking. We could have never, ever dreamed of how much work would actually be involved in doing that. We obviously have a brilliant team of developers that have been working on this for a very long time, but to cut a very long story short, in 2016, early 2016, I came up with the idea of Stratis, and we spent the next 6 months designing and conceptualizing just to make sure that it was a real opportunity that we had here. Which it was, and we're being proved that every day, even till today.
That's awesome. Great. That's a great story. And obviously, yeah, you definitely have to have a good vision and the team behind it to work together. But looks like you came far, far, and now looks like when I see Stratis, right, when I compare to products like Ethereum or Cardano or a bunch of others, looks like you are way ahead. Like you have these product already offering. You had smart contracts, 2-3 years ago, right? So
yeah. I mean, I'm a big supporter of Ethereum. I was mining Ethereum in the very early days. I wouldn't necessarily say that we're ahead of Ethereum, but I would say because we're a much smaller organization, we can be more agile. So we can pivot due to industry demands and changes within the space.
No, that's great. That's great. So everybody who's just joining us, looks like more people are joining us. Welcome to the AMA. Today's AMA, we are here with Chris Trew. Chris is a CEO and founder of Stratis Group Limited. It's a UK-based blockchain firm. They are product more focused on enterprise development using C# and .NET. So we are mostly here, a lot of C# and .NET developers joining this show today. So this is your chance today. And our focus is really, if you have any questions, talk about how can you get involved in blockchain, what kind of application you can start building using Stratis platform, and what are the different offerings Stratis platform has. So what we will do is now we're going to play one video of Stratis offerings, Simon. So what products and offerings Stratis has, and then we'll talk about, break down these little products, a little more details. So everybody who's watching us, have your questions ready. Keep coming. We're going to take questions in the second half of this show. Simon? All right, that was, we saw, different these Stratis products and offering, and I want to start with this smart contract, Chris. So smart contract seems to be like one of the largest, besides the cryptocurrency itself, smart contract seems to be one of the largest use cases today, right? You want to tell a little bit about, what a smart contract are in just brief, and if I'm a C# and .NET developer watching the show, what kind of use cases or application I can use and build using Stratis platform?
Yeah, so smart contracts are undoubtedly one of the sort of major driving forces behind adoption of blockchain and cryptocurrencies, I believe. There are many smart contract platforms out there, Stratis being one of them. The main difference between our smart contracts and the likes of, for instance, Ethereum, is Ethereum have what they call the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine. And those smart contracts, that code is executed with inside that Ethereum virtual machine. And pretty much, I'd say 90% of smart contract projects that are actually out there have taken the same approach in that they have a VM, whether it's in Solidity or another language. Whereas with Stratis, we took a slightly different approach in that we don't actually have a VM where our smart contracts are executed. We actually execute our smart contracts using the .NET CLR. So from a development perspective, there are some blockchain smart contract platforms out there that allow you to write C# smart contracts. However, what typically happens is those C# smart contracts are converted into another language before they're executed. And from a developer perspective, that can be a complete nightmare, because if you have a bug in your smart contract, it can be hard to ascertain whether it's in your C# code, whether it's in that conversion process to the other language, or actual execution time. So we wanted to keep everything streamlined and utilize as many of the existing .NET and C# tools as possible. In terms of use cases, I think it's pretty clear now that the blockchain and smart contracts will disrupt pretty much every industry over the next few years. From our perspective, Stratis, we focus on several industries because having this innovative platform that can disrupt all of these industries, it's very easy, to lose focus and spread yourself thin working on many different products for many different industries. So we completed an analysis where we looked for what we consider to be the low-hanging fruit use cases. And when we talk about low-hanging fruit use cases, these are ones that we can come in, do an analysis, put a proof of concept together, and very easily sort of prove the benefits that the blockchain is going to bring, whether that's cost saving, a reduction in time, a reduction in trust. And those industries that we focus on are asset management, gaming, IoT, and supply chain. Supply chain, for instance, the blockchain is the perfect technology for the supply chain. It gives you that end-to-end visibility of your supply chain. It gives you that transparency. And if your product that you're selling sort of derives its value from provenance, either because it was manufactured or farmed in a specific area, that blockchain gives you that validation that it did indeed come from the source where you expect it came from.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely a lot of use cases, and if developers, everybody who's watching this, if even I say anything where you have kind of real, in physical contract and where you need third party to validate that, you can replace that with a smart contract, right?
Correct.
Now some question, people have question about the fees and cost of those, storing and executing smart contract. How does that work with the Stratis? How much it really costs to execute the smart contract?
Yeah, so one of the benefits with the Stratis platform is we have very, very low fees in comparison to other smart contract platforms out there. As an example, if we take one of the decentralized exchanges on Ethereum, such as Uniswap, we have a project called Opdex that's building out on the Stratis platform, which is also a decentralized, which uses a similar architecture to Uniswap. If we take sort of the minimum trade or the minimum conversion on Uniswap, the same trade would actually be 99% cheaper on Stratis. So in terms of fees, we're around about 99% cheaper at this moment.
That's pretty impressive. That's impressive, because I know, Ethereum, sometimes they're saying that's costly. Well, that's great. So Chris, we're gonna do is take a little pause here and announce a winner. As we said, we are giving away. Thank you for offering the Strax. We are giving away these Strax. So we're gonna bring Simon in the show now. Simon, you want to jump in, and we're gonna announce our first winner.
Mhm.
And you're
All
gonna
right.
ask a question.
Yeah, yeah. So we actually asked a question in the comments, and it's pretty straightforward, and I believe it makes sense for this live show because it's on C Sharp Corner, where we did ask which programming language is used to write smart contracts in Stratis platform, right? So I see there are many comments down there, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick the first one because since there are very many. The first person who has answered here is Deepak. So congratulations, Deepak, on winning 100 strikes. Just go ahead and download the Stratis wallet. It's available both on iStore and on Android Store. Download it, and 100 strikes.
Yeah, so to add to that, anybody who doesn't know how to get Strax, there is a mobile apps available on both Android and iOS now. Just go ahead. It's called what? Strax Wallet, correct?
Hmm.
Yep, you search for Strax Wallet, go download the app, and when you register, you're going to get an address, and you're going to provide that address to Simon. Then that's how you're going to get those Strax. Check that out. Oh, by the way, if you think you have any, while you're downloading the app, using the app, you find something, issues, problems, any feedback, please let us know, because we want to help Stratus to improve their products as well, and that'll be really good way to get feedback from you. So anything you feel like you want to give feedback, it's always most welcome. And obviously critics are more welcome than saying how great this project is, because we want to keep improving from there.
Indeed.
I'll let you both
All
continue.
right, thank you, Simon. I'll call you back again in 10 minutes. So Chris, that was great. We're going to talk about a few other things now. So one of the hottest topic in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, I mean blockchain and cryptocurrency right now, is NFTs. And I learned a little bit about NFTs, but I don't know much. Maybe you want to tell our audience about what NFTs are, and why they're so like popular right now, and how Stratus can be used to create NFT based projects.
Yeah, so NFT stands for non-fungible token, and they're a digital token that are unique and not interchangeable. And that's really what separates NFTs from other token standards such as ERC20 on Ethereum and SRC20 on Stratis. NFT is a huge topic right now, because again, it's one of these low-hanging fruit use cases. Representing digital items such as photos, music, and artwork in an NFT just makes sense. NFTs have actually been around for a very long time. It's only now it's sort of come to the forefront because of the media coverage that it's actually receiving. But when we look at one of these types of topics, we try to look at the problems that could arise behind it. And one problem that we've seen is the intellectual property and copyright behind some of these NFTs. If you imagine some of these NFTs that have been sold for a large amount of money, the person that actually purchased that NFT actually has no ownership over the original creative works. And that's why we're working with a project called File Protected. And they do exactly that. They solve the intellectual property and copyright issues that we have today around NFT and the creative artworks that they represent. In terms of on the Stratis platform, we've had NFT token support since we first deployed our smart contract infrastructure. What we're currently working on is building out a NFT platform. And like I said, we have to remain laser focused. We can't jump on every new wave that hits the sort of crypto sphere. But in terms of NFT, we've had to sort of get involved just because of the amount of interest and the amount of requests that we're receiving from people across many different industries, whether it be the music world, combat sports, the art world, various different places. So we're actually developing an NFT platform, but it's going to be slightly different from what's out there now, and it's going to be purely artist focused. So some of these NFT platforms have a cost involved with deploying your NFT. Again, like our 99% reduction in fees, we want to reduce those costs by 99% and reduce that barrier of entry for NFT artists, because there are some people out there in the world that might not have $100 spare to create a new NFT, and we want to reduce that barrier for those guys. It's going to be completely decentralized, so there'll be no central authority, there'll be no sort of centralized control over the NFT platform. It will be completely decentralized.
No, that's great. That's awesome. And I agree. The artists usually don't have any kind of money. They are just doing for the passion, and anything can help in that space. That's great.
And I think that's a terrible shame.
Yeah, it is.
Some of the best artists out there are not going to get that sort of visibility that they deserve. And we hope that this platform is really going to help with that.
Yep. And then anybody who's watching us here, and you are an artist and you want to get involved in it, file protected or other, just connect with us, connect with me, connect with Simon, and we'll connect with the right team in Stratis if you are interested in learning more about NFTs, file protected, and any other products. So you want to get involved earlier than later.
Yeah, we're very interested in speaking with artists, because this is going to be an artist-focused platform. We want it to be artist-driven. So we're speaking with artists to find out what they want, what are their requirements, and yeah, that'd be very good.
Great. And then another product that kind of attracted me was you have identity platform.
Yes.
And this is actually for more like enterprise developers like us. We are building apps, we are building our websites. What's the role of this identity platform is, and how is it different than any other identity platforms?
So our identity solution came out of us when we're looking at use cases and designing solutions around these use cases. I would say pretty much 8 out of 10 blockchain use cases has to have some form of identity, access control, authorization. And our identity solution provides exactly that. It's a self-sovereign identity solution, which means the end user retains the control of not only their data, but also who has access to it. Data and data protection is a huge topic globally, but more so I'd say in Europe and the EU with GDPR and other sort of regulatory compliant frameworks. And our identity solution allows the end user to have full control over that data and who has access to it. Now, what we tried to do was we tried to take existing technologies and existing frameworks. And one example is OAuth 2, which is one of the sort of main authentication protocols out there. We've integrated that into Stratis Identity. So any platform or website that's currently using OAuth 2 authentication has a very simple path to actually implement our identity solution.
And the difference is in the back end. What is the difference in the back end? So the basically the authentication is stored on the blockchain.
Correct. Yeah. So when somebody creates a Stratis identity on their mobile device, they'll have a private key and a public key, similar to a crypto wallet. That public key actually becomes their identity. And then we have what we call on-chain claims. So an organization, for instance, a KYC provider, can go through KYC review and then actually make an on-chain claim to say Mahesh has successfully passed on FIDO KYC, and then smart contract platform can actually use claims to actually make decisions on if they want to interact with that individual. One sort of product that we're working on is client onboarding and compliancy within the asset management space. Compliancy and onboarding of customers cost the industry a huge amount of money because it's a very manual process where they have someone manually checking all of these various different data points, whether it be KYC, AML, have they signed fund agreements, those types of things. Whereas utilizing Stratis identity and Stratis smart contracts, we can make that whole process autonomous. So each one of those metrics becomes an on-chain claim. And in the back end, we have what's similar to the existing system, a traffic light system. So when it's red, the person's not passed any of those data points. When it's amber, they may have passed half. And when it's green, all of those data points have been met. So it not only does it reduce costs through not having to employ so many people in your compliance department, they're actually going to have to manually check these data points. But one of the other sort of main advantages is it completely removes user error. Smart contracts don't make errors.
Yeah, that's true. Yep, that they're smart, right? That's what they are.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
If they're coded correctly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, definitely. So, some of our audience, I know they ask questions about staking and all that, and I just, one of guy, C# Corner guy, he just created a Raspberry Pi, and he installed Stratus on it. So you want to talk a little bit more about that, how small code base it is, or is it is to run even the full node, and maybe a little bit about tell people like the why they should be installing full node, and how, if I'm a C# developer, I'm a .NET developer, and I have Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code, how easy it is for me to start, say, writing simple smart contract, or learn the API for Stratus. Because first thing people think, if they don't know blockchain, it's like, whoa, this is a very big complex thing. How easy it is for them to start?
Yeah, so in terms of the devices and the sort of resource consumption, we probably wouldn't recommend that anyone go lower in terms of hardware requirements than a Raspberry Pi until we roll out our next group of updates and optimizations. That's probably going to be sort of as small as you can go in terms of device. In terms of how a developer can actually get started, one of our best resources is our academy. We've spent a lot of time and money on creating documentation that allows developers to come on board with no knowledge of the blockchain, learn the basics concepts of the blockchain, and then go on to learn how to develop your first C# smart contract. And one of the reasons why we created the Stratis platform in C# was because we wanted to tap into the existing C# developers that are out there. If we look at other blockchain platforms that use their own sort of bespoke language, they're having to grow their developer community and have people learn their language, whereas we want to greatly simplify that learning curve for developers, for C# developers coming through. So we have various NuGet packages that you can just open up Visual Studio, install the smart contract NuGet package, and start writing smart contracts straight away. We've tried to keep it as simple as possible. So instead of spending time on setting up your development environment, setting up your test environment, you can spend that time reading the documentation on Academy and learning blockchain, learning smart contracts.
Yeah, no, I just did that last week, last weekend, and I just went through step by step. It's pretty simple. So everybody who's watching us, we are going to publish a tutorial and a video on C# Corner as well. But you can also go learn from Stratis Academy as well. The website is stratisplatform.com. So Simon, you want to post that link also? Stratisplatform.com is first thing to start with, and there's Academy link there. You can go there, start learning. So yeah, we do have a bunch of questions. We're going to take questions in a minute. I have one more question for myself before I open this for people. But Simon, I'm going to bring you in again because it is a time to start our second winner of the day. Did we have any winner on the social media also?
We'll take it the next time, right? We'll take it the next time. I need to check actually social media because there are many tweets coming in. I'll have to pick it from there, but I believe this is going to be an exciting one. We did ask a very simple and straightforward question. That was, there are so many comments. There are more than 500 comments. I have to go through and find where I
Awesome.
asked.
That's great. That's great. So
Uh,
let's
okay.
ask the questions. I'm also going to open here YouTube on my other computer.
Yeah.
Uh,
So we did ask that how many wallet the strats have, name them. This was to encourage. It was pretty easy. This was to encourage and visit Stratis platform and website and actually go
wallet
through
is.
it. Many people did answer that hey, there's three. Some said two. But the first one who answered with all the name also, because we also asked them to name it, was Jiva, right? So he named all
All
of it:
right.
Stratis Core, Legacy, and Cirrus Core. So congratulations, Jiva, for winning 100 Strax. Wow.
Congratulations, Jiva. And I know you are not far from me. You are in New Jersey and you are a C sharp developer, senior developer. So I would love to get you involved and see what we can build, what you want to also propose. And this is great. Congratulations, Jiva, for the winning the 100 tracks. So Simon, thank you so much for stopping by. I'll bring you in again in 10 minutes.
All right, I'll see you
This,
in a bit.
this is fun while we are chatting. All right, Chris. So this is fun. Let's go back to our. I have one more question, and then we have a bunch of questions from audience. But I'm reading a lot about DeFi. Right, this seems like this space is exploding. I have a friend. I have other friend. They're like, yeah, I'm doing a lot of DeFi, involved in DeFi here. So maybe you want to educate our viewers on that and how Stratis. I believe Stratis is also just announced launch a DeFi product. It's going to be it's already available or it's going to be available soon. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so DeFi stands for decentralized finance, and it's a type of finance that's been enabled by the blockchain that has no intermediaries or any centralized control. Funnily, DeFi has actually been around since the dawn of smart contracts on Ethereum. It's only now that this term DeFi has been tagged to it, and it's getting a lot of media exposure, but DeFi has been around for quite some time. The project that you spoke about was Opdex. We have a decentralized accelerator that is there in order to fund projects. That's something that we could potentially talk about later on. But the first project to be funded by the decentralized accelerator was Opdex, which is a AMM, which stands for Automatic Market Maker Decentralized Exchange, similar to the likes of Uniswap, SushiSwap. And it's the first DeFi protocol that's actually going to be deployed on the Stratis platform. It has a very interesting story, actually, and I hope that this will give some incentive to other developers because Opdex was actually created by a community member of Stratis called Tyler, and he actually won the first ever Stratis hackathon with a product called Stratis Swap. Over the next year, he further developed Stratis Swap, and it ended up becoming a much more complex sort of DeFi protocol, more in line with your likes of Uniswap and SushiSwap. He created a proposal to the Stratis Decentralized Accelerator, which was voted through successfully by our decentralized governance board, which is made up of our validators, also known as masternodes. And Opdex is going to revolutionize the decentralized exchange industry, we feel, because of the huge reduction in costs. And something that I'd like to go back to before, when we discussed transaction fees and costs, that 99% reduction in fees that we have over the likes of Ethereum is actually even cooler, because not only can we offer those low fees, but we also actually have a very high level of decentralization. And if you look at some of these platforms out there that offer very, very low fees, typically what you'll see is they actually don't have a high level of decentralization. They may only have 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 nodes. At this time on our smart contract sidechain, we have about 160 nodes that have joined since November. So in terms of decentralization, we are very, very decentralized. So not only are you getting those reductions in costs, but you're also still getting the benefits of decentralization. I mean, using a platform that doesn't have a good level of decentralization for a decentralized exchange doesn't make any sense. I would rather use Ethereum and pay a higher cost, knowing that this is a truly decentralized environment that I'm working in, and it's something that we pride ourselves on, offering those low fees, but also maintaining a very high level of decentralization.
Yeah, great. Yeah, there's so many questions coming up. I'm just amazed. Like, I'm just so many questions we need to cover. But let's take one question before. I don't want to miss this question. This question is from where did this go? From Davidas. Is Strax operability? Can you explain more about upcoming Ethereum interop with Strax, and what does it exactly mean, and how will it affect Stratis?
Yeah, very good question.
Question. Yep.
Yeah, very good question. So we have a product called Interflux, which is our blockchain interoperability solution. One of the hurdles that blockchain is going to have to overcome in the next few years is interoperability. Like we saw in some of the technical innovations around enterprise, we're going to have all of these isolated blockchains that can't talk to each other. And if we think about a supply chain use case, a part of the supply chain may be on a Hyperledger-based solution, and another part of that supply chain may be on Stratis, for instance, and another part could be on Ethereum. If none of those platforms are able to talk to each other, it's very difficult to get that end-to-end visibility. That's why we came up with the interoperability solution that we've actually been working on for about a year and a half. We actually repurposed a technology, our sidechain technology, that we had out there in production for a very long time. And when we actually sat down and looked at it, we realized that we actually already had an interoperability solution. It's just, it didn't connect any other blockchains like an Ethereum. So the first blockchain that we actually connected up to Stratis was Ethereum. And we have what's called Strax, which is a wrapped Strax token over on Ethereum. And that allows people to utilize the likes of Uniswap and other DeFi protocols with the Strax token. In future, we're going to be rolling out support for other blockchains and also building on that support. Right now, you only have the ability to send Strax across to Ethereum, but in future, you'll actually be able to send any ERC20 token or any SRC20 token. So that's going to open up a lot of possibilities for projects that may want to utilize some DeFi protocol on Stratis, but not completely move their token across. The bridge will give them that ability for their user base to send tokens over, utilize technology on that side, and then when they choose, actually send them back.
Well, that's great. That definitely, I can see a use case for that, definitely. And this is great. So we have a lot more questions coming up, and I'm going to bring Simon in for one more time. Just jump in here, Simon. But ask your question, because looks like we are bombarded by a lot of these questions.
So
yeah. Wait, one more question before Simon, you jump in. This is good. Actually, this is the demand of today. Is Strax? No, you can stay here. Is Strax energy inefficient? Because that's one of the big thing going on right now with Elon Musk with Bitcoin. You want to tell a little bit about that, Chris?
Yeah. So we use proof of stake, which is a lot more efficient when it comes to energy consumption. It doesn't use anywhere near what is required for proof of work on the likes of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I wish that I could say that I had this amazing foresight that the sort of energy consumption was going to be an issue. But we went down the proof of stake route because of the staking ability and what that brings to the table. And that was the real reason for it. But it just turns out 4 or 5 years later now, with the likes of Elon Musk raising the topic, and now it's in the forefront, and we're very well positioned in terms of energy consumption.
That's great. Definitely, yeah. That big green thing is a big deal now these days.
Yeah.
But all right, so let's, Simon, you jump in here because it looks like we have too many questions coming up. We probably need another so soon in
We'll have
coming time.
another show. Yeah.
We're gonna start doing, looks like, probably every month because the way excitement is going on here. But we're gonna take a Simon's question, then we're gonna play a video. But after the video, anybody who wants to build a blockchain application, the app or solution, or looking for a funding to invest, how to get resources or funding, I'm going to talk to Chris about that, how you can get your project funded as well when we come after this video we play. Go ahead, Simon, your turn.
All right. So we did ask a question that was around why is what Stratis sidechain is actually used. There were many comments. If you see, people are saying it's used for. Garib says it's used to turn your smart contracts on your own private or public sidechains. Then Srinivasan says Stratis sidechain allows company and individuals to create bespoke and personalized blockchain, which is perfect. But we just did a random go through and all, and we picked up Gosen. He gave the first answer. He was the first one to answer it. Since there are more than 200 comments coming in every 10-15 minutes, they are not in the stream yet now. But Gosen is the one who answered it the first. So congratulations on winning 100 Strax.
Congratulations.
All right, congratulations. We have more winners coming. We have 2 more winners?
Yeah, we have
Simon?
2 more winners. The next one is going to be a very exciting one.
Okay, we will pick 2 more. But one other thing I want to tell everybody is that I don't know if you heard the news, but C# Corner has partnered with Stratis on bringing Stratis blockchain to developers, our C# Corner community developers. And our goal with that is, if you are a C# Corner member or community, or even a developer, C# developer, not a member, we want to bring all the education to you, how to get started with Stratis, how to create a smart contract, how to build your project. And also, if you have some ideas around blockchain, NFTs, DeFi, anything, you can reach out to us. We'll connect you with the Stratis team. Stratis is also available on all popular social media platforms and apps. So on their website, at the bottom, you will see links, and you can go and join those groups and channels to direct talk to the team. Stratis team is pretty friendly, and their support is available. Also, community is very active as well. I'm part of these apps as well. So let's one more thing is that Stratis is now participating very actively because their products are ready to go to mainstream. They're actively participating in our C# Corner upcoming conferences. That means, what does that mean? That means we are not only going to see Stratis ads there, but we are also going to see Stratis session presentation. Means there may be me or somebody will be presenting, or Chris or some developer will be presenting how to build your first smart contract using C# and Stratis. So those all are coming up. So let's take a look at upcoming conferences where you can find Stratis virtually or in person. Well, so you just saw those are a lot of conferences coming up. We'll be busy. Looks like Chris. Looks like you're going to be busy. I'm going to be busy. We are going to have a busy summer, busy winter, and this year, right? So now, last thing I want to talk to is about, you mentioned something about decentralized accelerator.
Correct.
And I really want to talk to developers who are watching us. They want to get your project funded. You want to tell us about this and how they can get funded, and what is the process for that?
Yeah, so we have the Stratis Decentralized Accelerator, also called SDA, which is a decentralized fund that we use to fund blockchain projects, DeFi projects that are actually going to build out on the Stratis platform. It's all about increasing the adoption of our technology, and there's no way it's better to do that than to fund these startups. The process is very simple. On our academy, we have a guide on how to create a proposal. You create your proposal and provide some basic information, a description, a website where people can get more information. Once you deploy your proposal, it then goes out for a vote. It's voted on by our decentralized organization, which is made up of our masternodes or validators. There's around about 160 at this time. And if your project is voted through successfully, the funds will automatically be sent to you. It's controlled by a smart contract. Those funds sit within a smart contract, so it completely removes any decision making from us. We don't get involved in any way in these proposals. We're never for or against the proposal. We like to remain completely neutral. Up until now, we've had 2 projects funded, as I said, which is Opdex and File Protected. And we're really excited about the SDA and what it can bring to Stratis. And not only that it can potentially help to fund the next generation of DeFi applications.
All right, great. So this is good. So if you're looking for funding, you know how to get started. Again, there's more information on stratisplatform.com, and you can also join the channels, apps and channels. So now what, Chris, we will do is we're going to start taking some questions. There's a lot of questions, and let's see how many questions we can cover. So here's the first question on the screen. How is BT stablecoin development going?
It's going very well. With a project of that type, it's more led by legal and regulations. So we're working with some very large organizations, law firms, top accountancy firms, in order to build out this GBPT-backed stablecoin. In the background, we're working on our oracles, which will be the gateway between the fiat APIs and also the blockchain. How our GBPT stablecoin is going to differ from some of the other stablecoins out there is there will actually be monthly assurance reports. So one of the top accountancy firms out there in the world will every month look at the bank accounts and make sure that the funds are in the bank account to back those GBPT tokens that are out there. And then they'll produce a monthly report. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow institutions to have that assurance that the money, the token is indeed backed by that fiat currency. What I will say is that the majority of time and resources and money that's been spent on this project has been around legal and regulatory. Yeah, the development side of it and the technology side of it is actually a very small part, and that is the part that I like. I'm a tech guy, but as being part of the blockchain and certainly incorporating out of the UK, we've had to always be very, very careful in terms of legal and regulatory. So we're talking with the right organizations, and we hope to be able to provide some updates very soon on the token.
Yeah, that's important because you gotta take care of the legal. This could be get a little crazy. So here's another question from Jiva. As a developer and investor, I'm interested in part of proof of staking. What are the requirements for that? I think there's also part of question why that he's a C# developer. He wants to build and get started in NFTs and all that. So I guess he's trying to stake. Let's talk about. I think he maybe that he wants to stake maybe.
Yeah, so what I must say first is I must put my legal hat on and say that you're not an investor. You've not invested in Stratis Group Limited. You're a token holder, and I have to say that. In terms of staking, there are no actual requirements other than running a full node. You could stake effectively with a single Strax or even a fraction of a Strax, but your probability of actually mining a block and earning some rewards is very, very low with such a low number of Strax. But we are working on some technology internally that's going to allow people to pool up their Strax and stake together, so they have more power and more chance of earning rewards. But obviously we'll only do this if it's completely decentralized and trustless, so that brings a lot of complexities with developing something of that type. But as we discussed earlier on, our full node can be run on Raspberry Pi, which is very energy efficient. So in terms of actual energy usage and the cost of the device, the actual barrier to entry is not huge, we feel, for staking.
Yeah, and I think I can add that to it. You can do cold staking as well, so you don't need to run anything once you put some, right? So you can put your Strax on cold staking and your whatever devices out there. You can also do that. There's more information actually on staking and cold staking and all that available on Stratis Academy as well.
Yeah, we also have another project that's built out on Stratis called Trust Staking. And what that facilitates is it allows you to cold stake, but in a completely trustless way using their infrastructure. So at no time do they have access to your private keys or do they have access to your funds, but they can actually effectively stake on your behalf. So that reduces the requirements again even further.
Yeah. And I think even I'm not a financial advisor in any way, neither you, but staking right now, just plain staking is, I would say 15 to 20% around there. So that's kind of right now going, I test that out, before, we join this.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. I mean, that changes depending on the number of tokens that are actually staking.
Yeah.
Because it's weighted on the number of Strax tokens that are actually out there staking. But I believe we have around about 50 million Strax staking at the moment, which is under half the supply. And that's why we're seeing that increased reward.
Yep. There's another question here. Can you combine NFTs with a smart contract with the Stratis?
You definitely can. Yeah, most definitely. There's going to be a lot of use cases and smart contracts deployed in future that work around NFTs. And one example would be our NFT platform. What we effectively have is a smart contract that is our NFT marketplace controller, and that actual smart contract can interact with NFTs.
Yeah, so we have a lot of questions coming up. One more, what's the story behind the Stratis? How did you can only answer that if you want to share.
Yeah, it's a very good question. So when we first conceptualized Stratis, and still to this day, we have a deep integration with cloud and blockchain as a service. So that's where Stratis came from, Stratosphere. And that's where the name Stratis came from.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So Simon, you want to come in? Looks like you have 10 more minutes, Chris. We have a lot of questions.
Yes, no problem.
Okay, I think we're gonna extend this to 10 more minutes because we have some giveaways and I want to cover a few other things, but I want to at least take a few more questions. We're definitely gonna do this another episode in the next few weeks because looks like there's more people involved. And we got to get this going on. We want to give what people want. That's important part of the community.
Yeah, from our perspective, C# Corner is integral to what we're trying to achieve. So myself, the team, will make as much time available as we need to.
And yeah, I know you're also a very community guy. I know you will, you always believe in community and give back to the community and even whatever support we want. So thank you so much for all that as well. So Simon, go ahead. That's your.
All right. So this is an interesting one. So we have been putting in comments throughout the live show that, hey, please use #Strax whenever you ask any questions, right? So as you can see, let me maybe zoom it. Okay, not this one, this screen. As you can already see, we have 50 submissions. Okay, I need to zoom it. All right. We already have 50 submissions. So please go ahead and whenever you post anything, just use #Strax. Now we're going to do a lucky draw, right? And let's see who wins. Keep your comments coming in. Use #Strax. I see many more coming in. All right. Let's click on draw.
Oh, this is nice feature of StreamYard. Wow, that's very cool.
All right. So who wins it? Who wins
Going
it?
down, it's like a wheel.
Oh my goodness. All right. So this
Oh,
finance clip, you win 100 Strax. Congratulations on that. And just reach out to us on C Sharp Corner Twitter handle, and we'll make sure that we get you the 100 Strax. We're going to do it once again towards the end of the show. The same one. So
wow,
keep
great!
it
This is congratulations, StreamYard, for adding this feature. I know, Simon, you've been talking to them about this for a while.
yeah. You finally gave it to me for this show.
Awesome.
I'm really impressed by StreamYard.
Yes, so Simon is working with them since they started. They were a young team, and Simon now has direct channel to the CEO and founders. So whenever he wants a feature, they give it to him.
Brilliant.
All right, I'll catch you on the later.
All right, go ahead. Simon, go ahead. Let's put more questions. We'll take a few more questions, 7 more minutes. We kind of extended 10 minutes this show. So, all right. So it says, how will you do support us when we are building a big group of community for you? Thank you. So I guess it's somebody's trying to build a Stratis community in their local city. That's a good question. Great question. And we want more people like Paya to build these communities. Yep.
Yeah, very, very good question. And it's something that we definitely encourage. There is a very short answer. We'll support you in any way you need. So whether that's funding to cover the costs of event space, whether that's sending some of our developers out there to actually talk, hosting hackathons, sponsoring hackathons. I mean, you're probably better placed to answer this question, Mahesh, building the large.
So definitely. And I went to Chris and the team and said, listen, let's build this community together. And now we are doing events in different cities, and Stratis sponsoring these conferences. And also, as Chris said, developers are available to us even we have any questions. So if you are more interested, you want to work with me, I'm glad. Please connect with me. We're going to have several events and conferences in person in US and India as well, at least two places. And there's plan for Europe too. Once the COVID situation, gets better, we're going to have these events and conferences coming up in different parts of the world, not just US, not just India, Europe as well. Reach out to me direct, on Twitter or wherever you can find me. Let's take a few more questions. When can we buy Strax from INR directly?
I can't answer that. I have no idea.
I don't think this is possible, at least for foreseeable future now.
What I will say is that our community in India is something that we want to grow, and we see it as a vital piece in the Stratis machine. So if we can bring additional sort of exchanges from India or payment gateways or any service from India, then that's what we'll do.
Yeah. Okay. When can we start stake Strax on Binance?
Very good question. We're waiting on Binance to enable staking. It's totally out of our control, but it is something that they're working on. And they did previously support staking before we moved over to the new Strax token. But I don't imagine it will be that long. But do keep in mind that when Binance go online, they'll be staking with around about 25 million Strax. So the rewards of all the other stakers are going to go down. And
of course. Yeah, yeah, and it's I guess it all depends on them because they have to build their back end to support that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, how different is Stratus as a service compared to Azure Blockchain as a service from Microsoft? I believe which Microsoft says they're kind of doing something with it.
Yes. So this may be incorrect, but I believe that Microsoft are no longer offering
Yeah.
their Azure blockchain workbench.
Yeah.
Um, so Microsoft's stance on their blockchain as a service was Microsoft obviously didn't develop its own blockchain or its own platform. It utilized existing blockchains and platforms, the likes of Ethereum and Hyperledger. We've taken obviously a different approach, and we've developed our own blockchain, our own platform, and have that deep integration with Azure. So I think the main sort of difference is that Azure blockchain as a service sort of wraps around other blockchains, whereas we've developed our own blockchain and blockchain as a service offering.
Yeah, and it actually the only difference, I would see is that they were kind of packaging and deploying automated that. Now here you can pretty much take Stratus on the Azure and build your own and deploy. And it's
Correct.
not really hard. It's really we just did that. So it just that's what it is really, and obviously your VPS is running in the background, you manage and all that. So all right, Simon, let's take more questions. When to use Stratus over Ethereum? I would say right now. Yeah, Chris, you want to add something to that?
So there's some use cases that will generate a large number of smart contract executions, and that can very quickly get very expensive. In that instance, I would definitely say look at some of the competing platforms that offer lower fees, Stratis being one of them. But do try to keep in mind decentralization, because just having low fees is not everything if you don't have this a similar level of decentralization.
All right, I think so. That was, I think that's where we're done. We have a few more questions. I don't think those related to that. There are more people are asking, how do I switch from Python to C Sharp to blockchain Stratus? Those questions, guys, we can you can even ask offline. I don't think, but I don't want to take too much time. We're already almost 1:10. What we will do, though, however, is we're going to announce another AMA. Looks like this is very exciting in coming times. So we may end up doing once in a month on a Stratus AMA. If Chris is available, great. If anybody else from a Stratus team is, we'll try to get them. And we're also going to announce several things on C Sharp Corner to learn Stratus. And right, there are also hackathons coming up in soon. So we are working behind the scene for Stratus hackathons and Stratus focused blockchain conferences as well. And I think there's one day. Simon, you there? You can come in now. There one day something coming in India focused for students on Stratus blockchain.
Yeah.
We do what we doing what are we doing there?
So what we have planned in the coming 2 months, from June and August, we are going to reach out different colleges and universities, and we are going to have a kind of boot camp. It may be a 3-hour session for some of colleges in North India, South India, Pan India. We will have 2 or 3 hours session that will talk about what is blockchain, what is Stratus platform, on how they can get started with there's some hands-on demo coming in. So we will reach out to at least 2 to 3,000 students from different colleges, from top tier institutes of India. And then after 2 months of this all trainings, we're going to have a hackathon where we'll invite all these students to participate. And that's what our plan is for next 2 months. So stay tuned on C Sharp on our platform. We will be posting all updates over there.
Yeah, and but because it's a boot camp for a student, it also means it's virtual, it's available to everybody. It's not
And
just for students. So
uh,
remember, if I'm a developer but I'm first time starting blockchain, I'm almost student, right? So
yeah,
it's for
everybody is.
everybody. it's
Yeah.
it's pretty much for everybody.
Yeah.
So all right, that's great. I think that covers our everything from my agenda. Go ahead,
Mhm.
Simon. You have
Yeah.
um,
So So we'll do three giveaways now, right? Four giveaways. It's the final end of the show, right? So we already at the
Yep.
last minute. So the first one I would like to give is to Vadyam. I hope I say it's right. He has been asking some really nice questions. So he goes ahead and wins 100 Strax. We'll pick up one from the social media. He is Mr. Dr. He says, "Thumbs up! I really like your EMA." Dr. Just reach out to C Sharp on or to me on Twitter. That's my user handle. So there you go and win $100 strikes over there. Plus, I also want to give a shout out to one of the C Sharp MVP. C Sharp MVPs always have an edge from the other members. Is Divyang. Divyang is a C Sharp MVP and the frequent speaker in our annual conferences. He works on blockchain a lot, and he has been giving away answers to many questions that people have been asking in the comments. So Divyang, you also go ahead and win 100 strikes. Now, the final one, the exciting, is that roller drum roll. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's draw in. Keep your comments coming in. It's gonna be put hash Strax in the comments, right? And in the count of 5, we are going to run it. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Draw again.
This is pretty good.
Who wins? Who wins? Who wins? Who wins? Oh my God, Kandi Srinivas, you win $100 Strax. So I did also
Strax.
ask the questions. So $100 Strax. Congratulations. Reach out to me or C Sharp Corner on Twitter, and we will get you your Strax. So that's all the giveaway in this live show. That was great, EMA.
Well, that was great. I mean, Chris, thank you so much for coming. This was fun. I think we are definitely going to do again. Anything else you want to say in the end to our audience?
No, just thank you for having me and thank you for the continued support. It means a lot. One thing that I would like to raise actually though is that C Sharp Corner are currently raising donations to help with the problems that are currently going on in India because of the pandemic. So I'd like to, if we could post a link potentially, I'd like to ask everyone, please, if you can, possibly, please donate.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Chris, reminding that. Yes, we are raising funds. We have raised several thousands of dollars. And Chris, you've been big support of that. Your donations are welcome, and thank you so much for that. All funds will go to people in need in India. 100% funds will go to people in need in India for supporting COVID. So everybody check it out, and definitely every dollar counts, right? And spread the word. Please share it on social media. And with that, everybody, thank you so much who joined us from all over the world. I really appreciate you hanging out with us. All the questions, amazing questions. Really, really, we enjoy them because that's what makes this interaction valuable and engaging is all those questions, all those comments, all the engagement. And Simon, go ahead and close it. I think that's all. And I would say just thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris and Mahesh. Thank you for your time, and thank you
Thank you,
everyone who
Simon.
joined in. Follow Stratis platform on Twitter. They are pretty active, and they also have a new Twitter handle for their community. Follow them, and and stay updated. And we will see you next month probably. Until then, take good care of yourself, and see ya. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.